Nancy Pelosi has responded to the verdict in the Derek Chauvin case. He has been found guilty of all 3 charges, including second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Now, it's very rare for justice to be served in these types of police cases. And of course, many are celebrating that in this case, there is justice. I think House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wanted to do that, but it did not come off that way. Let's take a look.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice.
Thank you for sacrificing your life for justice. I wouldn't have gone in that direction. Francesca, you're the one who brought this video to my attention. What are your thoughts?
Just let Karen Bass speak. Just step aside.
Seriously.
Please don't say that, Nancy. That's a terrible thing to say. He didn't sacrifice his life. I don't think his family would be content with you framing his murder as him sacrificing his life. Say, I'm sorry that it took your heinous murder for us to understand, to open so many of our eyes, including my own. I knelt, Nancy Pelosi, for 9 minutes in Manolo Blahnik's on the Senate or on the Capitol floor. Like again, and this is just broader than that, and this is where we go with some of these Democrats who jump on to a mass movement only when it's convenient and only when like everyone from Amazon is, the corporation is like, all right, now we need to talk about how Black Lives Matter. Like, they only stick their necks out when it's widely popular, and we need to actually talk about what are the reforms and the real proposals that they are pushing through Congress. I know there's a George Floyd Act, but it doesn't go far enough. We're talking about small things like banning chokeholds or no-knock warrants. These are fine, but they are only addressing the extreme cases of violence, and they don't go far enough when it comes to structurally making sure that police are reined in, and so that we don't have any more people murdered at the hands of them.
Right, and I mean, when you think about the cases where cops come in and brutalize people, it's usually over someone engaging in some sort of act. First of all, sometimes it's just someone calling 911 on people who aren't doing anything wrong, like in the case of Tamir Rice, who is literally playing with a toy gun at the park. And then you have cases with an elderly woman with dementia forgetting to pay $13.88 worth of merchandise at Walmart, and cops get called in for that. I mean, there's so many issues that need to be dealt with that go beyond reforming policing. Like, we do need to reform policing, no question about that, right? But what is the role of policing? Like, what do they get called in for? And what are the various societal issues that we need to deal with that lead to things like desperation, poverty, right? Mental health care in the case of the elderly woman with dementia, right? We have, I mean, in Los Angeles alone, tens of thousands, something around 60 to 65,000 homeless people on the streets who are just trying to survive. And when you're trying to survive, you'll do anything to get some food, to make sure that you have the sustenance you need. Crimes of desperation exist because people are desperate. Why are they desperate? We need to have those conversations. And yes, we have racism within police forces across this country. I mean, we've done story after story of oath keepers saying, oh yeah, we were trained by current serving police officers. That's a problem.
Absolutely.
So you're right. You're right. Like, paying lip service, which is what we got from Nancy Pelosi there, isn't nearly good enough. And it's also kind of ironic that as House Speaker, she has a difficult time speaking clearly and connecting with people on these types of issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, What made her think that was the best line to use?
And I also think that there are mayors of big cities like Eric Garcetti or like and governors like Andrew Cuomo who have relied on police, who love the police, because as Professor Alex Vitale, who's an expert on sort of police militarization, he's great. You guys should all look him up. But he explained something to me, which is that where politicians fail, they just rely on the police to shut everyone up. Oh, so you failed on housing policy? Rely on police to shut up the homeless people, lock them up. Oh, you failed on healthcare? Oh, rely on the police to just tackle mentally ill people. Oh, and if some of them die, whatever. But so it is absolutely a democratic problem, even though the right is just relishes in the racism of it. But it is a failure of politicians when they rely on police time and time again, no, not to keep people safe, but to clean up, supposedly, when they have failed so drastically when it comes to basic infrastructure, basic health of everyday cities and communities.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.